Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44. So, all right, so I'm just brainstorming. I saw Kendrick Nunn's exit interview comments about wanting to opt in and thinking that it was only right that he opt in since he had missed the entire season with a bone bruise and he had never seen it coming. Um, and you know, I was cracking a joke. I was like, "Nah, brother, it's complete opposite. It's literally the complete opposite. Because you missed the whole season, please opt out." But no, I get it. Get your money, obviously. But that was just a joke. I think what I really want to see the Lakers do is incorporate him into what we do next year. If we don't trade him, don't necessarily think that he can't help you. Just understand what his strengths are and and understand that um, he's a scorer. He's not looking to do too much creating for others. He's going to put his head down. He's going to get his, and um, that's going to help you in some situations. But if he's not on, sometimes it can hurt you. So we just have to kind of prepare for Kendrick Nunn's style of play, for which we didn't have all year long. We really don't know this player, but in when he's on, he is on. Like, this is a very talented offensive player. Um, who had some votes for rookie of the year um, in his rookie season when things were going very well with him in Miami. He showed exactly what type of talent he has and what type of motor he has, and I haven't forgotten that. This year was just very sour, and everything that went on was horrible while we were in it. But now that we are out of it, I'm actually kind of relieved it's over, and now looking at the pieces that we have, not as it pertains to what it meant to have them last year, but more so what it'll mean to have them this offseason as assets and then going forward as pieces if we don't trade them. So uh, I'm really over last season. Like, I'm at a point where as a fan, that season was it what it was. We can talk about it because there's a lot of talking points to speak on it. But as far as where my head is, I'm not even really dwelling on that anymore. And I hope the front office is feeling the same way. Now we just need to, again, look at what we have and move forward. And I think Kendrick Nunn is a good piece for some team in the NBA. And given the fact that we are not a defined team, there's no reason why we can't incorporate him into whatever it is we're thinking about right now. So um, trading him is ideal, to be honest with you, just because of how things have gone, and we think we may be able to find a player that may be more reliable for us and maybe a bit more defensive for us. So I think the goal should be to try to make sure we have defensive players that kind of fit the mold of what it is that ultimately we found we are, which is a team that has some young legs that can take on a bigger load next year. Obviously, Austin Reeves is going to be a player we want to step up into a bigger role next year. But a lot of this, of course, depends on who we have coaching the team, and of course, um, just who's going to be on the team overall. Big moves could be made with our roster, so there's no way to really consider what a piece means as it pertains to an entire roster anymore. Um, Now we just have to look at the players and try to dream up what they look like. Um, I guess next to AD and Braun, I guess that's the best way to kind of move forward with it. Because it is start from scratch time. I don't imagine Jeannie Buss is going to bring back most of those guys. And I speak of Jeannie Buss not even thinking about necessarily Rob Palinka right now, because I really don't know if she's going to even keep him. But just in terms of just what the team should want, I don't think they should want to keep some of those guys that they had last year on 1 year deals. We should be very happy to let the majority of them walk, and we should be now looking to try to replace them with players who can do a lot more for us. Um, Obviously, moving Russell Westbrook from the situation could get us back something very nice. So now we're thinking about what that means, and Indiana is starting to pick up steam. So if Indiana could be a team that we give, Russell to, maybe we get back the deal that everyone's been kind of talking about, which is Buddy Yield and Malcolm Brogdon. I think that's a W. I think we're happy with that. Um, Given the fact that Malcolm Brogdon's on a multi-year deal and he's much younger, much more of a player that we can rely upon in terms of fitting in with whatever it is we're dreaming about. He's a better player defensively, so I think he'll be an upgrade overall as long as he's healthy. And we discussed this before already. Of course, if you see my other video, um, my only issue with him is the fact that he is injury prone. But aside from that, he's one of the better guards in the league, and his big play ability is without question. Without question. So, um, now, looking at some of the other things that people were talking about, like LeBron James saying he didn't think this situation was a failure, I just am not really interested in that comment. I know a lot of people are going to hang their hat on LeBron's every word, but I'm not that kind of person. I don't, unless he's insinuating something, unless I get the feeling he's trying to say something, communicate some cerebral way. Most of what I think he's just going to do now is just give you what you need to hear so I can get somewhere to clear my head and go work out and rehab this leg and figure out what I want to do for my future. Figure out how I feel about what just happened. So whatever's coming out of his mouth is just basically him. It's between now and then a moment for him to decompress. And I understand that. Like, I just simply understand that. Whatever's coming out of his mouth is just what he needs to say so that y'all can say whatever you need to say. What the answers to your questions about this past season are going to be questions that he's going to have to soul search about at the end of the day. It's not something he's going to be able to figure out right now. A lot went wrong. He has to look to the people at the people around him. He has to look at himself. All of this, and it's not going to be something that I think you're going to really he's going to get without going on vacation or something like that. You know what I mean? He's got to get away from all of this. So I'd imagine he's going to do that, and hopefully the Lakers now can get to business and do what they have to do to give this team a more balanced foundation from which to move forward. Because if I'm Bron, I don't know if I believe in the Lakers right now. I really don't. And the media's not helping when they document each and every mistake. So full rebuild, man. I just know for a fact it's going to come to that at some point. Maybe now, maybe later. But yeah, I just feel like that's the best case scenario. We have to consider what it means to just start from scratch. I like what I saw from those youngsters, in these last few games, playing like stars. And I just think if we can put the ball in their hands, maybe surround them with some good players that complement them, maybe we'll be happy with that. I don't know. Maybe that's not the way to go, but I just feel like the Lakers rushing this timeline, trying to make it happen for LeBron, I just don't think they can do it. It can be done. I just don't think we can do it because it's short, in such a short amount of time. That way, if you go with the kids, as I said, yeah, you're not going to be as good, but at least you give yourself much more of a timeline from which to build a foundation. To be as good as a guy like LeBron James will want you to be, for him to want to, play for you and win a championship. I just don't think we can pull that off overnight, and we need to do so in order for this to be what it should be. So, luckily enough, we got Anthony Davis. If he comes back inspired and in better shape, great. I honestly don't agree with a lot of what Anthony said, to be honest with you. His take on the coach, I don't agree with. I just don't. I have a different perspective as a fan. Looking at some of the things that we had running down there as a team, I just felt like our coach could have did a lot better for us in supporting him. I don't have any problem with that. That could be a friendly thing, and I have no problem with that. But as it pertains to my opinion, I can't follow him there. I just didn't get what I needed to see from him as a fan. So that's my perspective, for whatever it's worth. But all in all, I just want him to come back strong. And if he's right, building this team is easy, and that's the bottom line. It's not as easy to build when your stars aren't in the best possible condition. So Bron is an older guy now, so it's so important that other person be extremely reliable, and that's what LeBron James was alluding to when he said he wanted Russell Westbrook on this team. And I understood that in the summertime because I felt the same way. Because these guys had their injury issues, Russell, being one of the most durable superstars in the league, should, in theory, have been able to carry them along. But the problem was his style of play. And it's not enough to just be a sturdy anchor. You got to be able to also work in a tandem with limited stuff, and that's something Russell couldn't do. So here we are. Luckily enough, our young players have trade value that we didn't know they would be able to garner. Not to say that we'll trade them, but it does give us some value, some leverage. It keeps us from being fleeced in some of these negotiations. It allows us to not appear as desperate in negotiations, and I think that's an underrated attribute in negotiations. Having assets that matter. You're not moving them, of course not, but believe you me, going up against somebody who don't have nothing, oh yeah, I'm demanding a whole lot from them. Why? Because they're gonna have to give me everything in order to get what I have, because they need what I have. But if I know they got enough of something over there, then obviously I got to temper my expectations, because they can walk away from the table at any moment if I disrespect them. So yeah, does it suck to think that way? Of course, but that's exactly how that works. So yeah, those young kids, we got THT, we got Austin Reeves, we can dangle them, but as far as pulling the trigger, I would be angry if we did. We got to keep those guys. And the most important thing we need to do is make sure that Malik Monk is resigned. Now, obviously, facilitating Russell Westbrook out of here is the main goal. We talked about that. That's what it is. But we do need to resign that kid. He's very much a part of what I think we could be. And no matter what we're building, he's somebody you want. It's another reason why I don't think Kendrick Nunn is as important as he once was. I just love our guards. THT, I'm even happy with him now. We have to be patient with these guys, and may have a down year next year. Not to say that I'm putting that out there, but what I'm saying is, Laker Nation, as a fan base, we tend to be short-sighted, myself included for sure. And we want things when we want them. But when you're talking about young players like this, if a guy has a down year, you can't give up on him. You got to just scratch that off and trust that they're going to put in the work in the offseason and be better than next year. And if they're a piece that matches what it is that you do, you should be able to have them in place with the ups and downs. Now, and we went through that with a player like KCP, for example, who had ups and downs and stuff like that, and several others over the years, of course. Man, I had a thought and it just left me, but at the end of the day, I want just to thank everybody for continuing to rock with me on this channel. We're going to continue to talk about the Lakers mostly, but if playoffs go on, we'll talk about them as well. And yeah, I'm going to get going, you guys. I appreciate you all once again. BDR44. Peace.